Today, I'm going to freak you out. Although I am the Irish guy, and no, I'm not going to tell you about that toddy dream I once had about Bugs Bunny's mum. No, I'm not going to sit here in front of you and eat my belly button gunk. No, I'm going to tell you that on Saturday afternoon, me, the king of dodgy predictions. Oh, I successfully predicted 4 out of the 5 Premier League scorelines. I'm sorry, play the clip.
Everton versus Arsenal. 1-1, just you watch. Crystal Palace versus Brighton. I fancy a Palace win. 2-1. Ipswich versus Wolves. This will be the most heartbreaking match of the entire Premier League season. The Tractor Boys will go 1-0 up, and it's going to be so heartbreaking. A late equaliser from Jurgen Strand Larsen before an even later winning goal from Matheus Cunha off the bench. Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Villa will get the win. 2-1.
What? Oh, you can imagine my face when those results rolled in on Saturday afternoon. Sorry, but that's 80% of Saturday's action that I guessed right. Even the one match that let me down, West Ham versus Bournemouth, I still backed an Evan Nielsen brace. I was just one goal away from getting a full clean sweep of correct predictions on Saturday. That is absolutely insane. What happened to me when I made these predictions the previous day? It feels like Zeus must have spat on my toast. It's absolutely outrageous that I got all these results right. I'm still just shocked. I'm more surprised now than I would have been if my mum had rang me up and told me that my dad was actually a monkey she met at the zoo, and yet I'm celebrating these mega impressive predictions by sitting here covered in marmalade. Oh, makes sense. Right now, I have got 62 points. If Newcastle win 3-0 tonight with Isak on the score sheet, then that will be the most amount of points anyone has put on the board any game week this season. I am one match away from greatness. Poor old Mr. Black by comparison. He's got 25 points. Right, let's go. Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Play the clip.
Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Villa will get the win. 2-1.
Ooh, interesting. The marmalade has made my arm hair stick to my bicep. This actually is really hurting now. But look, I said that Nottingham Forest will lose 2-1 at Villa Park, and the comments went nuts.
I actually didn't believe we would get a result at Villa until I saw Irish Guy predicted us to lose again. Commiserations to Aston Villa. Yes, Irish Guys predicted Forest to lose. That means that jinx will work and we will win again. No Forest slander will be tolerated. He's back Villa against Forest. Break the curse, lads. UTV.
Well, would you look at that? People say I don't have a clue about Nottingham Forest. I keep saying that they're going to slip up and creak out of the top 4, which is such a weird thing to say, right? It's like trying to suggest that Simon Cowell will get cancelled for eating a puppy on Britain's Got Talent, right? Well, no, because Forest lose 2-1 at Villa, and thank you, Morgan Rogers. Is it that crazy to say that Forest won't get Champions League? Because they're now 4 points above Chelsea, 5 above Man City, just 6 above Aston Villa, and oh yeah, if Newcastle win their 2 game in hand, oh, look behind you, Forest. The Magpies will be just 1 point behind you two. I don't know why people think that I'm crazy. Well, probably because I'm sitting here covered in marmalade, but no. Nobody has noticed it yet, but Forest are secretly soft on the road. This was their 4th defeat in the last 5 away trips, with Bournemouth triggering the rot after that 5-0 win in January. A month later, Forest were 4-1 down at half-time at St. James's Park. I'm sorry, but away from the comfort of your own fans, Forest are pretty clumsy on the road. They have to travel to Spurs, Crystal Palace, and West Ham. They could all realistically be wobbly defeats. Sorry, lads, but I'm saying it. Forest will not get a Champions League spot. Just you watch. Ipswich versus Wolves. Okay, forget about the goal scorers. That is the exact script that I said would happen. That this would be the most heartbreaking afternoon of the season. The words can't express how exciting this must have been for the fans. For Liam Delap to put Ipswich 1-0 up early doors in what was a must-win game. If they'd held out, they would have closed the survival gap to just 6 points. A draw was not enough, but defeat? Oh, disaster. Yeah, both Pablo Sarabia and Jurgen Strand Larsen score late goals to absolutely chuck Ipswich's heart off a fridge. For Ipswich, this is sad for the club, but it's also sad for all of us. The relegation battle is over, officially, with 7 games to go. That is hideous. We deserve better. I think the most exciting thing about a Premier League season is usually the relegation battle. I think back to the absolute drama of Sheffield United getting surprisingly relegated on the final day in 2007 because they conceded a goal against the pudding left back they'd binned off to Wigan in January. I remember the absolute shock of Reading, 12th at Christmas, but relegated on the final day in 2008. Or the utter insanity of 2011 when 2 clubs Both Birmingham and Blackpool were so harshly relegated on 39 points each, 18 wins between them that season, and they still get stomped into the championship. I want to see a relegation battle going to the final stages, with teams shockingly getting dragged into it at the last minute. But no, the relegation battle is cancelled early, which just feels so anticlimactic. It's a bit like a child waking up on Christmas morning to see that Santa is choked to death on the mince pie you left out on the couch. This is actually different to last season. Sure, all three promoted clubs went down last year, and it didn't feel like a relegation fight, but I'm sorry. With just 3 games to go, Nottingham Forest were ahead of Luton by just a point, and only 2 above Burnley. That was a semi-exciting relegation dogfight. Luton were just 1 place behind Forest. A year later, and these clubs are now separated by 40 spots. Make that make sense? Tottenham 3, Southampton 1. So, Southampton are down. The most predictable relegation of all time. Look, right now, their mission is to avoid becoming the worst Premier League side of all time. But I'm sorry, you're already in the history books, lads, because this is the earliest that a Premier League club has ever been relegated, which is wild. Sorry, but being relegated with 7 games to go, just how? That's almost impressive. It's like managing to get kicked out of a nightclub quicker than anyone else has ever done. I'm not sure how you'd manage that, just sprinting through the door to instantly puke gooey Cheerios into the DJ's face. How does a team get relegated with 7 games left? That means that the Saints could literally go on a 7-game winning run, and still, they would have 0 chance of staying up. Not even Derby County were mathematically down with 7 games left. I mean, they were relegated in March, but there were 6 games remaining, not 7. And then they gave up completely. They've even admitted since that they chucked in the towel. And obviously, I mean, Julian Lescott once made the mistake of calling it a relief when his Aston Villa team were relegated early, so the players can now play without fear. But that Derby team, after relegation was confirmed, they then let both Aston Villa and Arsenal rock up to their ground and both score 6. They lost 4-0 at home to a relegated Reading on the final day. Those players had checked out and were already mentally eating ice creams on the beach, and that Derby team were full of championship standard players. In that entire squad, they did not have a single player who was still Premier League quality in 2008. Not one, but Southampton. Isn't it bonkers? One of the biggest culprits, their garbage centre-back Taylor Harwood-Bellis has played and scored for England this season against Ireland, which is so embarrassing I might cry. 6 months later, I bet he's now too ashamed to look his future father-in-law in the eye. Christ above, how do you possibly survive a family Sunday meal when the bloke across from you pouring gravy on his chips just happens to have won 7 Premier League titles, whilst you were in real danger of being part of the worst ever Premier League team? I'm guessing when the topic of football comes up, Taylor just escapes to the bathroom so he can eat a stick on the toilet instead. Lads, on the opening day of the season, Southampton left St James's Park after hogging 77.8% of the ball. I mean, sure, the Magpies had a man turned off early doors, but still, Southampton had 19 shots to 3, utterly dominating a team who'd just been chilling in the Champions League. If you told me that afternoon that by April, this team would have just 10 points on the board, I'd be more likely to believe that True Geordie can burp the Chinese alphabet. But no, this is the sad reality. And here they were getting beaten by Spurs to mathematically sentence them to the drop. 7 games early. 7 games? Bye-bye, Ivan Juric. What a grisly, dreadful appointment he was. Just give it a lad at the end of the season. Seriously. Man United 0, Man City 0. Leave Phil Foden's mum alone! Look, this game was a huge waste of time. You know what this game reminded me of? 2016, when both Man United and Man City were awful. That's what I thought at the time, because neither side were involved in the title race. Yeah. You know what awful was for Manchester back then? Both clubs finishing on 66 points, Man City in 4th, Man United in 5th. I thought that was the rock bottom moment for this city, with both big money clubs squabbling over which one gets dumped into the Europa League. Yeah, fast forward 9 years and Man City are now 5th, while Man United 13th. It's crazy. Back in 2022, Brentford slapped Man United 4-0 in Ten Hag's second match, and Gary Neville said that Man United could well finish bottom half. And I thought, don't be ridiculous. This is Manchester United. Seeing them in the bottom half was about as realistic as me getting buried in the same coffin as one of the Teletubbies. But oh no, 3 years later, that is absolutely happening. And this game was just complete yuck. Both teams scared to lose, both teams happy and relieved to escape with a point. This was honestly one of the worst Manchester derbies I've ever seen, but not the worst. No, that was December 2020. A game nobody remembers. Not even the lads who played in it. A 0-0 at Old Trafford with nobody in the crowd. I mean, you could have been at home watching on the telly and heard the ref sneeze. You don't remember that match. I know you don't. I don't. Nobody does. It was something you watch once in 2020 and never again. I mean, trying to recount anything that happened in that match is a bit like me asking you what happened in episode 3 of Tiger King. And yeah, that was the week before Christmas. It felt so pointless. Man United were 7th, Man City were 8th, Tottenham were top with Mourinho. What's even weirder is that both clubs would finish that season second and first, with City winning the league by 12 points and Man United finishing nearly 10 points clear of fifth. How? I still have no idea, but yeah, that was the worst ever Manchester derby. But this wasn't far off, like Jonah Hill eating a pie. By the way, lads, quick shout out, okay? But if you've been watching the YouTube shorts, you might know this crazy cat. His name is Mike. He's a semi-pro footballer who's played against Foden, Sancho, Frimpong, Curtis Jones back in his Middlesbrough Academy days. He's a baller, as you might have seen from that Euro 2024 video, which nobody watched. Wow, that was a waste of a week. Well, lads, quick shout out. He's a boxer too. But because I don't think KSI or Misfits will ever be paying attention to pinching anonymous geezers out of Irish guy shorts, no, he is now doing his own event to rival KSI. Not really. But yeah, this Friday, April 11th, doors open at the FED in Gateshead. It's basically a mini Misfits starring Mike. So if you want to pop along and tell him how much you love the shorts, then yeah, FED in Gateshead this Friday 11th, 6:30. Anyway, back into the video. Fulham 3, Liverpool 2. Well done, Fulham. I really thought these players would be on the beach, but no, here they were slapping up Liverpool, becoming the first Premier League team to register a home win over this club since Everton a year ago. But wow, Liverpool were hopeless in defense. Christ above. Andy Robertson is done. Come on, bow out with a Premier League medal. You are a Liverpool legend, sure, but oh boy, is he past his best and is now a burnt out goose. This game, it doesn't matter to Liverpool. No, this is exactly the same as it was when the Reds lost 3-0 at Watford when the league was done in 2020. It's over, the players have switched off and are mentally chilling out with margaritas on the beach. Aussie lads, Liverpool are going to be really sloppy in the spring. When these players are not involved in an active title race, they switch off. They did it last season too. I mean, forget about being seen as one of the greatest Prem teams of all time. Oh no, this is my prediction. The Reds will finish the season with 86 points, which won't actually seem that wacky and crazy because Rafa Benitez did that for Liverpool in 2009. Honestly, I think Arne Slot picks up the same number of points that Benitez managed 1 year before he was sacked in what was considered a bottle job season where he was mentally fried by Fergie. I'm telling you, Liverpool are about to get real sloppy. West Ham 2, Bournemouth 2. Play the clip.
I'm gonna double down on this one. If Bournemouth do indeed get beaten by West Ham, then I'm gonna get somebody to throw 50 cookies at my head.
Thank you, Ivan Nielsen. Thank you so much. Because if the Brazilian did not squeak in that 79th minute equalizer, then right now, I'd be nursing a cookie concussion. West Ham almost sneaked the win after Nicholas Fulkrug bullied the Cherries' defense. Honestly, when he entered the pitch in the second half, he was a horrible, toothless ogre who was probably having to restrain himself from giving poor old Dean Hutchin a wedgie by the corner flag. Crystal Palace 2, Brighton 1. Well, this game had a crazy finish. Look, first of all, what a belting goal from John Mateta. His first goal after winning football stands if it's a go. Palace have always been the club that have been cursed when it comes to centre forwards. Ever since promotion in 2013, they have had a consistent elite goal scorer for 1 season. Christian Benteke's debut campaign after joining from Liverpool in 2016. 17 goals in his debut season before quickly and instantly shriveling up like a toad. I mean, within a couple of years, he'd be going nearly 50 games without a goal. Palace have had some big name strikers through the door, but they've all failed at Sellers Park. Marouane Chamakh, Yaya Sanogo, Kevin Doyle, Fraser Campbell, Patrick Bamford, Connor Wickham, Loic Remy, Emmanuel Adebayor, Alexander Sorloth, Michi Batshuayi, Cheng Tosun, Odson Edward, Eddie Nketiah. There's some big names in there. Huge internationals. All failed. It looked like Palace just didn't do strikers the same way Johnny Depp doesn't do normal wives. But Mateta, he looked like another flop. Come on, just 13 goals in his first 81 games for Crystal Palace. And 3 of those were against Plymouth. He joined Palace on loan in January 2021. 2.5 years later, he was stuck on just 6 Premier League goals. He went 28 matches without a goal. He looked like a major horrible flop. But Oliver Glasner comes in and suddenly 19 goals last season, 16 this season. He's gone from being some chunky potato who cannot score to now knocking on the door of a World Cup spot with France. It's actually an unbelievable turnaround. Everton 1, Arsenal 1. This feels so pointless. Everton are safe and Arsenal are not winning the Premier League title. You see why this has meandered out to be one of the worst seasons of all time? It all feels so pointless, but yeah, here are Arsenal going 1-0 up through a decent Leandro Trossard strike. Miles Lewis-Skelly gives away a sloppy penalty within 4 minutes of the second half, which Iliman Ndiaye converts. But honestly, this game didn't matter at all. Blah! Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. What's the point? Chelsea don't care anymore. Why do you think Cole Palmer started on the bench? I know he's out of form, but Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, he's got the star quality of a dead hedgehog. Anyway lads, that is the end of the video. I know it was a pretty pointless weekend, but the season's kind of over. What can I say? Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, I can't wait to get this marmalade off my face. My skin is actually sticking together. Oh, this is horrible. I feel like a Pathetic Paddington. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, share, but as always, I'll talk to you in a while.